Hi, this is Leighton Jin. I'm the Director of Development for the American Documentary and Animation Film Festival, which is starting this week. It's actually starting tomorrow. I don't know when you guys are going to see this, but it starts tomorrow. And right now I have a Emmy Award winning filmmaker, Kelly Schwarze, who who's done his first foray into an animated film, and he created something really spectacular. I got a chance to see it last night. Circuits and Dreams. Kelly, well, thank you for being here. Can you tell me about the inspiration for doing Circuits and Dreams?
Sure. Well, thank you. First off, I'm so honored to be in this festival. I've been eyeing it for a while, and it's kind of when I got the notification saying I had been accepted, I was ecstatic. I was getting ready to jump on a flight, and I had told my wife and my daughter, I'm like, I got in, I got in, we got in. Yeah, Circuits and Dreams. It kind of came about as kind of an experimental project, honestly. I studied animation many years ago before I got into live action filmmaking, and I kind of gave it up because the technology wasn't there, and it was very difficult and expensive at that time, back in the late '90s, early 2000s, to kind of do digital animation. Computer processing really wasn't where it is today. So, during the pandemic, I kind of picked up on brushed up on my skills in 3D animation, and some of these programs that were available, including Blender and Unreal Engine, that were open source. I was able to kind of experiment, and that project came out of that experimentation after several months of kind of going back and forth with what I wanted to do. And then I thought to myself, we were in the middle of a writers and actors strike, and it was something that I felt, there might be something kind of interesting if I could tie in the idea of this robot who has aspirations to be a writer, and he's running from these menacing robots to drag him back to his job as a garbage bot. I thought there'd be something kind of funny about that, so I kind of made a humorous piece, a little satire, but a tip of the hat and an acknowledgement to the people on the picket lines.
And so now that you've done one, is this something that's going to be a big part of your company now, or where do you stand with it? Because I mean, like I said,
Oh
it
yeah.
looked fabulous.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've done 8 feature films. I've directed and produced 8 narrative feature films, and as much as I love working with actors on set and stuff, there's also this freedom that comes with animation, and it's something that I'm investing a lot of time and money moving forward with my company into producing more stuff. In fact, I've already got another one that's in post production. It's called Empathy Unknown, which hopefully will be out later this year. A little bit more of a dramatic piece, but again, it's something that I'm going back to my roots. Um, I'm I'm of course going to be still involved heavily in my production side, doing live action features, but my goal within the next maybe 8 to 12 months is to get the funding and everything I need to maybe roll out another feature, but this time an animated feature.
Oh wow, very ambitious. And
Crazy,
then
more like.
you're the what some people call the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas. Can you talk to me about working in Las Vegas and what kind of inspiration you get from Sin City?
Yeah, well, Las Vegas recently has become the center of the universe for a lot of things, including sports, and we have American Film Market that's going to be here this year, so it's all pretty exciting. And we've waited a long time for this. I mean, this is a casino town, and I grew up here, and there wasn't very many opportunities for filmmakers in our community. And I think from my perspective, it's just been fascinating to see this town grow, and a lot of people move here from the industry who want to set up shop or move with their family because it's more affordable. But we've kind of started to build this production industry here, and it's quite exciting. We have studios, we have these new volumes that are popping up. Virtual production is huge, and of course, the sports aspect is epic right now.
And then with your company, can you talk to me a little bit about your company? Because I know it's production, but then I'm not quite sure if this is woven into, but you also write books and you do instructional stuff. Can you talk about? I mean, you're very diverse. You have a very diverse portfolio. So can
Yeah.
we go ahead?
No, it's good. Yeah, absolutely. So I'm sitting in the building called the Indie Film Factory. My wife and I started this close to about 14 years ago. I came home. I'd already had a production company. We were doing production content for the UFC, NBC Universal, and different things like that. And a very successful company. And I remember coming home one day and her saying, "Hey, I have a great idea for a business model. I want to open up a studio for independent filmmakers." And I said, "Oh, this is a terrible idea because none of them have any money. How are we ever going to make any money doing this?" And what we discovered is there's this huge hunger, this huge need for people to learn. And I kind of went back to in time to when I started out in my career. There was very little information out there, especially about distribution and things like that, where you had no idea where to go once you could completed a project. So I've started writing books, and it kind of is a complement to this place. We've set up a facility that's affordable for independent filmmakers and that kind of stuff. And I have an agency too. I do production agency work. So, for example, we do branded content pieces and commercials for other clients around the world, which is a large part of our business. But at the end of the day, we kind of set this place up to serve independent filmmakers.
Well, that's awesome. That's kind of what our film festival is all about. A lot of the independent filmmakers, and I encourage all of them to seek you out and get advice if you don't mind.
Of course. No, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, because I mean, I think that's really valuable. When I lost my job, I toyed with the idea of doing documentaries, but I'm a print journalist trying to do video, and it was just kind of like too many things, too large of a learning curve for me. I mean, I've learned more and more over the years, but the transition wasn't as smooth. But I definitely believe with journalism and documentaries are really related. So hopefully someday we can blend them because journalists need opportunities and platforms like our filmmakers have here. Um, what are some of the features that you worked on that we might know about?
Well, we just had a film come out late last year called Darkest of Lies. It's a thriller, like a psychological thriller. It's out on Tubi and Prime and a couple other things that you can find. It's available. And then a movie that would probably be, well, we have two films that have done very well for us, and one was called Abigail Haunting. It was kind of a supernatural thriller that was released during the pandemic, and thanks to a lot of people staying home, that movie did very well on streaming. And then, of course, we have a movie called Alien Domicile, which was a science fiction horror film that we had put out, which are probably three of our most recent and notable films up to date. But I've done comedies, I've done documentaries. I've never done a feature documentary. I've done a short film documentary, and I got to tell you, journalism absolutely plays into it. In fact, it's one of the most important aspects of the process. And I think today, with how good cell phones are getting and production's getting, I think to myself that really, if you're a good journalist, you can gather enough good content, reasonably watchable content, to put together a narrative or a story visually. And I think it really boils down to it. I don't necessarily know if it goes the other way. If you're a great cinematographer, I don't know if that necessarily makes you a good documentary filmmaker. So I think it starts with a good journalist more than anything.
Oh, I have some films to recommend for you from some cinematographers. One especially is called "Passing Through" about Bombay Beach near the Salton Sea.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, she was a cinematographer, and I just seen her trailer, but it's beautiful. And then when you hear the sound bites, she did a really good job. She spent a lot of time there too. She put in a lot of sweat equity in that. So I know for her, I know she's one of that proves that she's a good storyteller, but she really did put in the sweat equity to that. But yeah, I mean, you just have to be curious and ask a lot of questions. I mean, I think we're all a journalist inside us.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I think at that point you become the journalist, right? So I
Right.
think that's really the hat you're wearing when you're driving that ship. Because, with documentaries, you get what you get. I mean, obviously the advanced documentaries have evolved so much over the years. They're almost narrative informed these days. So I look at the style and complexity of some of these films they're quite impressive.
And then, you perked my ears about UFC. I used to cover a little bit of UFC. I covered a fighter, Cub Swanson. But can you talk to me about what you did with UFC and some of the other events you did or do in Las Vegas?
Yeah, so my production partner Anissa Crystal and we do a lot of work with the UFC's branded content division. So anytime there's a sponsor or something that we need to tell a story about, we create kind of vignettes and stories that support the brand and support, of course, the UFC's initiatives with what they're doing. So it's kind of a fascinating way to do storytelling because we're taking two giant companies sometimes and trying to figure out how their narratives intertwine. Sometimes that's pretty straightforward. Sometimes you have to dig a little deeper to find those through lines. But at the end of the day, it's content creation and filmmaking, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, with the age of YouTube and stuff, those are really effective because I've seen a few, and I always kind of think, oh, why don't they do commercials more like this, where they're more compelling and engaging? Um, what how are you going to juggle moving forward? Because I know you do a lot of different stuff and you're adding animation. So can you talk to me a little about the juggling process of everything you do? Because it's a lot.
Yeah, I absolutely have no idea, frankly. I am figuring this out by this as I go. I sat down actually yesterday. I sat down before we spoke earlier in the evening, and I had a notebook out, and I'm trying to do the time math on what it would take to do a feature animated film, and I'm talking like 70 pages. I know what it takes to do a short film now. I've done two of these things. I've never been one who I just kind of do things and then I figure it out as I go along, and that's been kind of what's led me to like writing a book, for example. I sit down, I write, you know, for an hour, whether it's a good hour or a bad hour, it doesn't matter. I give it an hour and I walk away, and I try to be consistent and disciplined in that as much as I can, and lots of coffee, lots and lots of coffee.
Maybe you need to have a coffee sponsor.
Yes, maybe,
Um,
perhaps.
yeah. Well, I think we're going to end it here. I apologize. My internet was unstable, and I lost a little bit about you during that last answer, and I apologize for the technical difficulties. I'm not too sure what's going on my end. It's the first time I've had this
Oh
issue.
no. Okay.
Yeah, but we got most of it, and I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I look forward to seeing you here in Palm Springs. And is there anything else you'd like to add that maybe we didn't touch on?
Not really, other than the fact that I am thrilled to be a part of this event this coming week. Obviously in beautiful Palm Springs, but just to be able to see other films and get to network with a new group of filmmakers. This is documentary filmmakers, which I don't have a big opportunity to network and talk to, and of course, animators who are working on their projects, and that's all very very nuanced for me. So I appreciate the opportunity.
The American Documentary Animation Film Festival, March 21st to 25th in Palm Springs at the Palm Springs Cultural Center. We look forward to seeing you there, and then look for our channels. We're going to videotape some of the Q and A's, and you can kind of experience part of the festival there. If you can't make it, I highly encourage everyone to make it. Kelly, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.